G'day and welcome to the latest edition of the Love Shack Chats, where today I'm joined by Goddess Andrea and Mitra, and Nisanka will be joining us next time. And just to be a little bit different to most of the chats, we've only just found out what we're going to be talking about today. So we have the subject of oneness, and that could go in all sorts of different directions. And when I hear other people talking about oneness, I hear it's in some ways it's sort of like meditation, and then everyone's connected and everything's connected and all that kind of thing. But what I want to talk about is a little bit different, and it's something that came up for me the other day. So I thought, why not share it? And when I was going through the divorce and building myself back up and working with a coach, one of the things I was asked, what are you going to do? I says, well, I'm going to focus on my business because I need to build that business up. And I need a certain amount of money to survive and all this, that, and the other. And she says, okay, that's great. And then what she did is she brought out a diagram a little bit like this and says, well, in that corner of the circle there, you've got a W for wealth. That's where you're thinking you're going to work and focus. Does your wealth affect your relationships? Yes. Will it affect your spirituality? Yes. Will it affect your health? Yes. Will your health affect your wealth? Yes. And then it goes back the other way as well. And I thought, that's crazy, but it's so powerful. And that linked into something else I was reminded of recently. A talk I heard many years ago where the guy on stage was saying how when a lot of people think about their life, they think everything is separate. If you imagine sausages on a barbecue, he says you have your work sausage or your business sausage, you have your relationship sausage, you have your friend sausage, you have your financial sausage, and all these different sausages. He says where reality is, it's more like a stew. And if one of those sausages is off, it spoils the taste of all of them. And I thought, how powerful is that? Because no matter where we go, we have one head, one heart, one body, and it affects every relationship we have. So now I'm going to hand over to Andrea and see what oneness means for her.
Well, you know what I enjoyed the most was the sausage party you talked about. It's a good way to put sausages in there. Oh, I like that. It's super powerful. And I do believe that that is what oneness is in some ways. And because we have to take care of our whole wheel of life, right? I have a wheel of life that balances as well. And I know a lot of people that work with a wheel. And I kind of do mine like a wagon, and it does the same thing: spirituality, work, relationships, wealth. And I get them to kind of to draw it out, and then you get to color it in. So when, like a wagon wheel is round and has all those nice spokes so that you get a nice smooth ride. And that's kind of how I roll with it. And when we recognize like where is out of balance, and then they draw the wheel and it's more like a really rocky ride like that, right? Some people, you can't imagine riding on that wagon. And that's kind of how I introduce oneness to people. But I've had spiritual oneness as well. I did oneness ceremonies. Mitra might be familiar with them. And it's to connect the entire planet as one, so a higher consciousness and being able to raise our collective vibration. And so there's that kind of oneness that I also believe in.
Beautiful. Mitra.
Well, you couldn't have picked a better topic as a surprise. But first of all, I want to say, how lovely to see you both. And, we do miss Nisanka, and and to anybody listening to us, so good to be here. if I look at my foundation of work, it is about oneness. The totality of existence. And I do it through meditation. And you won't believe, the other day I was talking to someone, and we were talking about how 5,000 or 2,000 or thousands of years ago, people would walk or take a horse or bull cart. And if from one distance to another might take them hundreds of days or sometimes years and years to reach to a place. The times have changed. Now we've got aeroplanes, and so how science can be used, or the techniques of meditation can be used to achieve that oneness is phenomenal. And in years ago, people would sit on a mountain meditating for months and years. The destination does not depend on time for oneness. So if I had to come to meet you today, I could be with you in a few hours on the road. If I had to meet you 2,000 years ago, it would take me a couple of days, maybe a month. So the destination is not dependent on the time anymore. The oneness with ourselves leading to others and then to the cosmos is now not dependent on years and years of work. A simple techniques can do. So phenomenal. I am feeling so glad. I have got another thing to add, but I'll come back to it later. But thank you, Alan, and thank you, Goddess. Thank you.
Well, you shared something very different from what I was expecting when you were talking about going back in the past and with the horse and carts and everything. Because what I actually thought you were going to say was something about being at one with the earth, because we used to have no shoes. So our feet would be continually connected with the earth, continually grounding. And now we don't do that so much anymore. And also when you walk barefoot, you continually get natural reflexology.
Absolutely. And if you see in Ayurveda, it's a very prime technique where people are asked to walk when there's a dew in the morning, and it helps the eyes, it helps lots of a nervous system. I am very pro, but I'll keep under my sleeves what I'm going to say about the oneness with the cosmos in a minute. But
I think, Mitra, you have a good point. Like, oneness is so different to each individual and how we get there, and putting a timeline on it is really hard to do. Like 13, 15 years ago when I started my spiritual wellness healing journey, there's no way I even thought that 15 years later I'd still be doing it and more excited about it because of how good it makes me feel. And to me, that's the oneness with me that I discovered in a place of complete disparity and darkness. So when you start to discover who you are, first of all, and then you have to do the healing, and then you can become one with really absolutely anyone. Your enemies can turn into friends, and relationships change, like you said, Alan. It's like everything works together.
Absolutely.
So rightly put, once we are one with ourselves, our spirituality, existence, physical, mental. Now look at how amazingly it connects to the purpose as well, the oneness. So if somebody wanted to excel in business or at their work or in their relationship, becoming one is just a part of the journey. But bringing that thought is another. Sometimes we can be very, very lost. So coming back to how we are connected to the nature and hence the cosmos, and if you look at the tree that gives out oxygen takes away the carbon dioxide, and we give out carbon dioxide. The tree grows on the earth. And then obviously the clouds, the rain, the sun, the moon, everything is so minutely connected, not only at spiritual, physical, but nuclear level, that if anyone missed out, then we would miss out. So I am so pro oneness. I want to reach out to you to say that I have got something to give. I have something so much in abundance that I could give you. I could give you so much, and my cup was still be full. So come and take it. But that intensity of oneness should be with the other person as well, to look at it in that abundant picture, that the tree is working for me, the birds are working for me, the planet is working for me, my partner, my boss, my job, my business is working for me, and I can go out and fly as if I'm one. Nobody's judging me. I am one. I am one. How beautiful is that?
Absolutely. Everything works for us and we work for everything, providing we play our part. And I think part of the reason we have this disconnect is when we look at the trees and plants and stuff, where they're fixed, they've got roots going down into the ground, whereas we can move, we can go anywhere. So we're separate, but we're not. And that's one of the keys, one of the reasons we do need to ground out and connect.
Yeah, I highly recommend hugging a tree with the bare feet. Like even when I feel like just having a low day, even I will just go find a tree and put my back up against it and put my hands and feet on the ground and just kind of, we can use the elements and we don't need another being. We can heal ourselves. And that's like consciousness is raised so much from a long time ago, right? And we have this ability to make ourselves feel good. And we now know our feelings are a choice. So if I'm not feeling the way that I want to feel, you need to do something to shift it. And I think if you're not one with yourself, you're unaware of what that is or that something else feels like. So I'll sit my back up against a tree because water runs up the tree, goes back into the earth, and it's transformed, transmuted, whatever you want it to be, and just ask for that forgiveness and healing and let the water take it away and the tree will take care of the rest. And it makes you feel so good, and it makes me feel one with the universe and nature. And I use a lot of water for my healings and stuff like that. I just find it's so much more powerful when you can, take an offering to Mother Earth, ask the water for some help, and then it's amazing how it happens, and to me, that's oneness, is being able to receive that, whatever is being offered for you, whatever you're asking for, whatever you want, and you don't really need any other humans around, but yet you feel confident and know that this is going to work. And because that's my oneness with the earth, and like you said, earthing, do that every day.
And they don't even ask any questions. They don't object. They don't throw us away.
No.
And it's so amazing. I have recorded a walking meditation, simple walking meditation, and there's a little few seconds where one is made aware that when you put your feet on Mother Earth or planet Earth, if you can pay attention, the earth pushes you back. There's a support that I am there. Take the next step forward. Take it. I will hold you. I will look after you. And then one takes the second step. And then if you in the walking meditation, if you press your feet a bit, you can feel the press up saying, I am there. You go and find what you want to find. And Mother Earth is there to support. How phenomenal is that?
it's taken us years, I think, to find that the earth has so much to offer. You know, I know that like monks, Buddhas, shamans, people away, and in the Tantra world too, like it is about that oneness and that deep connection though, but you really have to be conscious where both people are at in order to have that. You can't feel a oneness connection with someone who is not one with themselves or knows how to share that love or connection together. Like, and I think that's where soul gazing comes in, and you create that oneness connection with each other's souls, and then you can be one together. And what does that look like? Do we communicate about that too? That's another thing that I've noticed is big. Do we communicate? Like, would you like to be one with me? Do we ask people that? You know, should our souls connect on a oneness level?
They should, but as you say, so many people aren't aware of this stuff, let alone able to communicate it. So one question I have for you guys is, if someone's in that state of disconnection or not at one with themselves or Mother Nature, the cosmos, call it all these different things, whatever you want to call them, what sort of things would they experience? What would they notice? How would they tell?
Well, how, like, are you asking how they would tell or feel what if they were coming into the oneness, or they're just not there at all?
If they're not there at all.
Well, what I've, in my experience, what I've learned is you can talk a little bit about that stuff, but the people who think that like it doesn't exist, for example, right? Like there is no oneness. We are all our own little beings doing our own little thing, whatever. But even using the word being around those people, they're like, we're humans, you know, it's not a being, it's not an alien, it's a human. And I'm really just, I hold space for them and kind of just hope that they can find the path of love. And it really, when people are that disconnected or won't hold a crystal that I offered them to look at or something, they're like, I'm not touching that, you know, it's just a rock. But because they know that some rocks might have magical powers, but they don't believe in it, so they don't want to touch it, right? And I'm like, I just hold space for them and hope that they can find the peace they're looking for in their life, because it's really about their journey and where they're at. And you can offer and ask them if they would like to know about it. I've had a lot of people say no, and I just say, okay, I respect that, and leave it. And I even had one person be like, what do you mean you respect that? All of you spiritual people want to put up a fight that we should be like you. And I'm like, you be you, boo. I don't need to. You seem quite happy in your little parade there. So carry on. Not my monkey, not my circus, right? You have to choose your battles. And especially when it comes to spirituality, because I know my son-in-law, he's here right now, and I have lots of stuff up. Like I have a voodoo doll hanging above my door, and he doesn't like my voodoo or hoodoo stuff, he calls it. And there's crystals everywhere and neutralizing rings everywhere, and, you know, the quantum physics stuff and all this stuff around. And he just walks around my house. He's like, what is this for? And I know he doesn't really believe in it when I first met him, but he's been in our family long enough now. This is the first time he's been at my house, and he's like, this is a really cool tree. And he picked it up and touched it, and it's an amethyst tree. And I told him that, and he was like, oh, well, this is part of that stuff. And I'm like, yeah, but he's not as resistant now because he's heard about it, been around it, and found an acceptance with it, where before it was like, don't talk about it, don't nothing. I don't want to hear nothing about your crystals. And now he's like accepting, and it's been a long journey, I'll be honest. It's been a long time, like, but he's finally accepted that this could be possible in life. And he's asked some questions this week to me about universal stuff, and I'm like, that's interesting, because he would have never asked that before. So just being around people and being you, I think, is the best way that you can share about any oneness or any spirituality. Show them what it is, and maybe they might get it, maybe they won't. You can't really force anybody to do that, right?
Absolutely.
So true. And I hold a lot of gratitude, because, you know, some people might not even know what the hell this oneness stuff is. They say, I've got my own life to look after. This oneness is at the bottom of my list. But if anybody ever becomes curious, that itself is phenomenal. And the identification marks is, people start feeling quite lonely, really stressed out, dipping in and out of anxiety. And if, maybe someday some people will listen to us saying this, that even that feeling that I'm feeling a little bit off could be the trigger point. And it could happen today, right now. It could start right now. It's not a magic wand. It's that just feeling, that energy that comes up. Maybe I am missing something in my life. And that could be that calling of oneness. Because, I always say that the journey is from the cradle to the grave. But many people even forget that they were born, or they will die, or they need anything else. The cocoon is so strong that I am great. I feel, a lot of gratitude, because the human might not even know this existence of oneness, and what the hell am I going to do with oneness? Wife is a wife, husband is a husband, work is a work, business is a business. What is beyond it? The beyond is the oneness. And it can begin. That seed can be sowed right now. It doesn't need to flourish today. But if the seed can be there, the feeling that even fraction a cell moves, that maybe there's something beyond. And the beyond is inside. And when the beyond is inside, the oneness can begin from one side and translate into relationship. And that could be spouse, girlfriend, boyfriend, father, mother, child, work, job, business, cosmos, earth. It can all begin right now.
Beautiful. As your saying goes, you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make it drink.
Yeah. And you know what? Like, I have people walk up to me a lot of the times when we're just hanging out. I like to go to the pub. So we'll go have a beer and we're laughing. And people will come over to me and be like, man, your smile just like glows from across the room. I've been watching you. And every time you smile. So when we find it, I think it just shows in our actions and what we do, if we're living in that full authenticity of wanting to be the light, right? The lighter side of life.
Yeah. And also, it might not happen as an explosion of, it may take time. It may take a little bit of time. And as you said, the horse, I can bring water to you, but I cannot give you thirst unless there is that seed of thirst. But amazing. I mean, this, I think we can talk about this forever and ever and ever. But how beautiful, how beautiful.
Yeah, and there's lots of people that disagree that it exists. And how do you deal with those people? Just let them be. Shine your light on them and hold space for them. Send them your love. And if any part of them is willing to receive it, it will begin. It's about receiving too, I believe.
Yeah, give and receive.
Yeah, it's such a flow that people really don't understand. And like, I know working with a lot of men, they give and give and give and give. And I actually teach men how to receive without any judgment, without any expectation, because it's give and receive is a flow, so you need to give in order to receive, and you need to receive in order to give. And the same with wealth, that's part of the oneness as well, giving and receiving. No matter what it is, if it's just a feeling that somebody gets by being around you, you've opened them up to something that they were unaware of.
Absolutely.
My friend Mariana, thank you so much. Thank you.
Yes, I think in the past, when I've been in a place where I wouldn't let myself receive, because it does feel good to give, But as soon as I build the barriers up to block that receiving, it takes away the power from that feeling from my partner to give to me or anyone else for that matter.
I heard a saying once, and it actually resonates. And I had to remind myself, because I was very bad at receiving things. I was a survivor, and I did everything by myself, and I did not need your help. So when someone said to me, you know, when you say no to someone giving you something, you're actually stealing their joy. And I went, what? And I thought about it, and I thought about it. And now people do stuff for me, and I'm like, oh, thanks. I just receive it. It took me a long time, but when I realized I was actually taking from their joy, that's not what I want to put out in the world. I want you to feel joy. So I want to feel joy. And that's kind of how I started learning how to receive, just that little statement.
Yes, I think there's so much emphasis put on that people put on giving to get something back, even if it's a thank you or saying I love you, because you want your partner to say I love you back, rather than saying I love you because I love you and I need you to know, or I want you to know.
Absolutely. I totally agree with that. It's not like, even with my kids, sometimes I'm like, I love you, but I don't like you right now. Like, my love never went away, but I need a minute to do stuff. But I think I have that with my kids, and I'm sure every parent has, but it's relationships in general. If you're in a long-term relationship, there's just days that you're not going to feel that being one and connected. And those are the days that I recommend in the couples that I work with, that they do the soul gazing. They find a way to feel that connection again, bring it back, because the more we pay attention to that feeling that's not good, the more we're going to get of that feeling, because what we focus on increases. So if we're continuously being angry or upset with each other, when are we going to make it better? Like, even women who are like, no, I'm not putting out tonight, I'm mad at you. Well, you're taking that away from yourself. You realize this, right? Like, I couldn't do that because I'm like, no, I don't care if I'm mad at you. I love you. We can still have a passionate moment. Like, I feel like there's a lot within that whole realm of receiving and giving, and expectations. Have no expectations, so you can just have your feelings, no judgment.
Absolutely.
And I can understand, it takes a little bit time. And once, being on I'm sure love is a topic for one day, but oneness doesn't mean that there will be no feelings and expressions. There could be surrender, there could be acceptance, there could be forgiveness, there could be all being at one. I mean, look at what's happening in what nature is doing in Florida. There's anger. There is, the acceptance, forgiveness, giving, receiving, letting go can all happen still being one in the oneness. It's more connected we are, the more we understand. The more we understand, even, if your partner looks at you, you will know what's happening inside. If you are connected, you will know whether to run away quickly or to give a hug. It's phenomenal. The whole concept of oneness does not mean what people normally think. It's the whole the completeness, rather. So phenomenal.
Yes, because emotions and feelings, they're all fluid. Even if we can't see it like water, but they go up, they go down, they go up, they're down. They continuously flow, unless we choose to hold on to them, and then we don't let go for years, and comes out with some kind of physical challenge or physical illness.
Yeah, absolutely. When we don't take care of our hurts, the I've seen a lot of people get sick because of it. I wish, like holding space for the entire universe right now, for everybody to become a little aware, like I love collective meditations where there's lots of people. Like I was part of one, I think there was 3,500 people across the world doing a healing on whatever it was, part of the planet that was falling apart. And as much as people say, oh, that's not going to work, I believe it's going to work. And apparently so do 3,500 other people. And I love the collective. After I do those meditations, I feel like my vibration was raised, and I feel so light and good inside that I want to do more of it. It's just like, and to me, that's the oneness. That's that feeling. It's a feeling to me, not so much a doing, but everything you do puts you in that place of the oneness or the disconnect. It's really crazy.
So what would happen if 50% of the world's population joined in a healing meditation all over the world?
That would be bloody amazing. I think the earth would have a little earthquake. I don't know if she'd know what to do with it. What do you think, Mitra?
I think it would be crazy. I mean, I keep thinking about, if you look in 2016, I was telling some of the friends, or anytime there's so much. I mean, we are sitting here. You look what's happening in Middle East, what's happening in Iran, what's happening in Yemen, what's happening in Afghanistan. I mean, think 50% of people. I'm saying 20% of people got together. All the problems of the world will just go, like, be wiped out. The hunger, the anger, the hatred, the fight. What's happening in Russia? What's happening in Ukraine? Some people, it will be difficult for some people to. There will be so much love. Some people will have heart attack. How can it be? We've got so used to waking up and seeing, oh, somebody's killed someone. Oh, some countries attacked some country. Oh, some people died of hunger. Oh, there's this problem. Oh, somebody on news looking so serious, talking about cutting tax. The economy has gone down. I mean, come on, life is. If we got together, I'm telling you, we would not. Some people will have heart attack, a big heart attack. Some people will not want us to get together because there's hidden interest and agenda. But wow, there will be literal earthquake, goddess. I'm telling you, there will be earthquake.
But could you imagine just for that, like 5 minutes of meditation, if it was just 5 minutes long, or even 2 minutes of peace around the world for 2 minutes? How could people who not be able to receive peace, would they be able to handle it? Like I think, like, on the big collective scale of 8 billion people on the planet, we have 4 billion people together for 5 minutes and just do a connecting meditation. My Atlanta, other people, you're right, they probably couldn't survive it. And I guess that's why we're not quite there yet. I'm not going to say we're not going to get there, because I do believe we will. There's enough people in awareness and expansion and growth, and knowing that we are more than just our bodies. We're actually, this is just a physical experience. We have so much more beyond this that we don't know about. And we've been through so much that most people don't know or have even looked into their past lives, And I think it's just, one day we will be able to get there, or we'll be forced to need to get there, because Mother Earth will be like, I'm going to wipe you all out if you don't smarten up.
Yeah. I mean, I was, even if 5% of 8 billion, 10% of 8 billion, you don't even, I mean, I was talking to some of my friends the other day, and 20 million people every year are dropping dead because of hunger. And this is not an imagination number. I mean, you think 20 million, some of the countries are 20 million. England is 60 million, let's say 66 million. 20 million people every year are literally dying. I mean, if anybody's listening, or maybe 25 now, Google it, because Uncle Google knows better than anybody else anyways. 400 million people are sleeping without having enough food. And in 2016, from 2016 to 18, I don't know the recent numbers, but enough food was produced to feed 18 billion people every year, 18 billion for the whole year. And we are only 8. So where is that? Think if 10% of people decided, you know what, I am one, not only with human, but with the nature, with the cosmos, I am one. Wow, would anybody be hungry? Would anybody go without love? Would anybody go without any care? It will literally transform. I mean, that kind of oneness, we will, I mean, I don't know if it will happen in my lifetime, but I will do everything to first let people help become one with themselves, and that love can transmit slowly one by one. Oh, I can only just smile thinking about it.
Right? Like, can you just feel the expansion in your whole everything when you think about, when you get to that point of having a connection with the earth, the sun, the moon, the stars, the universe, human beings, like other human beings. I couldn't connect with human beings for a long time. I got along with little people and old people. Everyone in the middle, I just couldn't relate to. And it's amazing with the healing journey and being able to, accept my faults for what they are, but finding this feeling of connection, no matter where I am, no matter who I'm with, and it can't be taken away. And I worked really hard to have that. So once you have it, I don't know what it would take to get rid of it or give it away. I just can't imagine life without this feeling. It's probably why I didn't do drugs and alcohol, because this feels just as good to me. Not that I don't know what it's like to do some of the things, but I know alcohol I've spent time with, and it's just like, it does not feel this good,
Yeah, because alcohol and all those kind of things are an external stimulus, whereas that oneness comes from within. It doesn't cost anything. There's no real withdrawal symptoms. Well, there might be if you become disconnected a little bit, but there's no hangovers. You don't get addicted in the same way. You just feel good.
right? And you know what? I am addicted to rocks, and I'm okay with it.
Absolutely. See here, Mariana, our friend, is saying Heart Math Institute organized group meditation for peace each month. How amazing is that?
Absolutely. There's Heart Math are the people that actually found that that we have brain cells within our hearts. And that little brain in the heart, as they call it, is more powerful than the one in the head. When the two are connected or coherent, that plays a massive part in oneness, as well as cancelling out the inner conflict between the ego and the intuition, which always fight each other.
Well, our brain is designed to protect us, right? And keep us safe. So when we want to try something new, our brain is like, no, you can't do that. That's not safe. I find myself telling myself to shut up a lot in this instance, because I'm always trying to do different new stuff. And also in the Tantra world, you have to be open. Like, you really have to be open to be able to understand what is actually happening in the spirituality aspect of it and receive the love. And it's all about divine connection, whether it's like, yourself or with the universe or with your God or Buddha or whatever it is. Like, I don't have any issues, qualms, or anything with whatever it is for you, whatever works for you. That's the best path, and live from your heart. Like, when I'm coaching, I tell people, okay, well, what does it feel like in your body when you say that? And they're like, well, I don't know. I've got tight knot in my stomach, and my chest is heavy. And I'm like, okay, so you're working with your brain, so let's let go of all of the judgments and expectations, and let's feel it in the body. And when you get that hell yeah, then you go for it. But if it's a hell no, just don't do it. Like, have a body check-in. And I don't think you can do that if you're not one with your body. You can't feel whether your body or heart is like, no, don't do that. Because a lot of the times what we're taught is, if we're not supposed to do something or whatever. We just don't do it because we were told not to. But what if you checked in and you realized that that was for you?
Yeah.
Even though it's against what mom and dad said, it's against what somebody, your spouse said, but you want to do it. How do you move past that, right? Because you're saying yes to yourself.
Yeah, I think a lot of people in history, especially around the times of World War II, were not listening to their intuition or their bodies that saying, this is wrong. They were just listening to the orders and the rules, because we are taught and raised not to question authority. We're not taught and raised to listen to ourselves.
Also giving ourselves the permission to rejoice and feel a little bit differently, because we sometimes are not even giving ourselves the permission, who we own probably. So yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Allowing ourselves to have the feelings we're having, like if you need to cry, I'm not going to say, well, don't cry or stop crying. I'll sit there and hold you while you cry, get it out. You might as well have that feeling right now, because if you don't, next week it might come back, or 2 years it might come back, and it'll haunt you, and you'll have this thing in your brain for such a long time. So feel the feelings, whether they're good or bad or everything in between. If you need to have a moment to feel that, have a moment to feel that. Take as long as you need. Let it all out, because that's what being part of the oneness is allowing yourself to be that when you need to be that, so that you don't have to repeat things again, to learn it again.
Absolutely. Yes, life seems to work in the opposite way of school, because in school you have a lesson, and you get given a test. Whereas in life, you have a test, until you get the lesson. If you don't get the lesson, you repeat the test again and again and again and again. Well
said. It is true, and people judge themselves for the mistakes they may make. Our mistakes are our lessons. Stop calling them mistakes. Something didn't work out right. Because there's such a heaviness when you say, I made a mistake. Just like, okay, what are you going to do now, though, instead of that? What did you learn? Question it. Get curious with your behavior, with the way you talk to people, with the way you treat yourself.
Yeah, who decides what's a mistake and what's not, though?
Right. And we only know that for our own selves. We know when we're doing something that doesn't feel right. I know I do. Even before I do a body check-in, and then I do a body check-in just to make sure, to know, like, I doubt myself, because we're not taught to run by feelings. We're taught to run by our brain. And our brain does not let us expand. It's a protection device.
See how amazingly energizing this topic is for us. We could go on forever. But I think, yeah, amazing. Thank you.
No worries. Even though I'd like you to go, you might like to talk forever. I think we're going to have about another 2 minutes, and then
no, that's what I meant. I mean, we'll I'm sure you'll come up with something amazing next time as well. But thank you.
Well, I think in all of our topics, like we said before, our bottom line is who we are and our self-worth, our self-esteem, our self-confidence, our belief systems. It doesn't have to do with anyone else. We just have to look in the mirror and love what you see looking back at you. And then you can share all of that love with anyone in your life.
Yeah, because before I could fully share myself with my partner or my kids or anyone, I had to find me.
Absolutely.
Not that me I was taught I was, that wasn't enough and had to fit a certain box. And yeah, even when I die, I don't think I'm going to fit in a box. So
Nope, I don't want to be in a box.
now I'll go for the old Viking burial, ship me out to sea and send a flame arrow out to it, and off we go.
Fair enough. Yeah, I
Apparently
think it's
not
all
allowed to do
about
that.
self-development, personal development, whatever. It's just where we're at. There's so much of it. You can get help. We all create help in our own ways. Your relationships, I'm more intimacy, and Mitra will meditate you till the cows come home.
Or even the cows are asleep as well. Who knows?
He probably does meditation with the cows.
Any final thoughts, Mitra?
No, I just want people to be playful with the idea of oneness for today. The ultimate goal is probably, it differs from people to people. Somebody wants to go into spirituality, somebody wants to achieve something. But for today, I would say amazing. Just the tingling feeling of this idea of oneness. What the hell it is? It'll be amazing. But thank you. Yeah.
Yeah,
And,
curiosity. Just curiosity. Get curious about your being, what it is. That's my go discover things that, stick your feet in a river and just see what it does to your body. Feel something.
Absolutely. And on that note, I want to thank you both for joining me. I want to thank everyone for jumping on, listening, and commenting, and all sorts of stuff. And if anyone would like to share this with other people so they can get some oneness in their lives as well, then even better. So thank you. Good night, or good afternoon, good morning, good whatever it is, wherever in the world you are. Have a good one. Bye for now.
Bye.